Sharing the screen, start recording. As Dennis mentioned, this meeting is being recorded. Now let me share my screen. Hope you can see it. Now you should see Postman. And right now, the presentation. So welcome. This is the APS online training. This time we'll focus on low code and no code. This is July 2025. My name is Omar Teams. I'm a developer advocate here at Autodesk. I have with me also my colleagues Dennis Grigor and John Wu. I'm based in Brazil. Dennis and John are based in Canada. And just like us, we have tens of developer advocates spread across the world. We have advocates in Kenya, Czech Republic, Spain, Germany, Japan, China, US, a lot of advocates in there. So the idea is that we can offer 24-hour support across the globe, supporting all of our APIs. We have many APIs, counting desktop and cloud APIs. And yeah, with that, we can have a great coverage. Okay. This tutorial will be focusing on low code, no code. We also have other ones. Since the past years, we have been conducting these tutorials focusing on data models, low code, and our tutorials. The idea is to each time share knowledge on one different tool, different APIs, and with that, you can have a better idea of what you can do with Autodesk Platform Services. Now, talking about how this event is going to work, we have 3 days, and each day will be dedicated to one specific topic. Today, we'll talk about Postman. Tomorrow, we'll talk about Power Automate. And on Thursday, we'll talk about ACC Connect. Not me, but we have one team dedicated to share what you can do with ACC Connect. On each day, we have 2 parallel tracks, one for EMEA and one for America's time zone. This is the one for America's time zone, and the one from EMEA was hosted by Peter Bros. Peter Bros also did all of this content that I will share with you today. If you have any feedbacks, anything that you found like it was troublesome, or if you find it's good, we'll have also opportunity for you to share the feedback with us. The idea is that we are going to work together. I will share my screen just like I'm doing right now, perform the required tasks like copying the Open API specs, creating what is needed inside Postman, and then we'll have some breaks for you to do the same. If you want, you can also follow along while I'm doing the same tasks. And if you have any question regarding the content, the scope of this tutorial, including Postman, feel free to use the Q&A. I'll ask you to use the Q&A for questions because we have a better structure. So if you have a question and someone wants to ask the same thing, instead of creating a new one, it can just the next person can just check the replied questions in the proper section. Chat is more like organic, is more it doesn't have the same structure. So let's keep the chat for general information, like how many minutes, how much time do you need for a break, or from where you are basing, or any tips if you need to go slower or faster, need to stop at one specific step of the tutorial. Use chat for that. And for questions, let's use Q&A. My colleagues will be helping answering the questions in the Q&A section. And this is very important. The most asked question by far is this session being recorded? So the answer is yes, this is being recorded and it will be available after the event. We'll have a YouTube link that will be shared with the platform, with the community. Okay. So this is the schedule. Today we're going to talk about Postman flows and APS. Tomorrow we'll talk about Power Automate and APS. And on Thursday, we'll talk about ACC Connect. Now is a good chance for us to use the chat window. Let me know, please, which tool are you currently using for low code and no code or no code integration with APS or any API? Are you using Postman or any of the other other software for testing APIs like Insomnia. There is a new one with a dog. There is Bruno, or using any other application. Let us know what you're using currently in the chat window, just out of curiosity and maybe to help us build the next event.
Yeah,
I
and
see Dynamo. Oh yeah, go ahead, Dennis.
in Q&A there is a question about the Postman, if um, the web Postman will work or not. I'm not sure about that because I'm using the downloaded desktop client, but from my understanding it should work, right?
Yeah, it
The
should
web
work as long
version.
as you have access to the features are the same. As long as you have access to run the flows, and I'm using the free version. We have like 50 flows, I guess.
Mhm.
So I use it only 12. This is more than enough. If you have the flows feature available and you can create collections and workspace, that's good. Thank you, Dennis. Uh, I see another question. Oh, yeah, the same one. Oh, Adanagi is here as well. Awesome. Postman VS Code, great. Power Automate, okay. We'll talk about Power Automate tomorrow. All right, let's move on. This is day one. We are going to use Postman, Flows, and Autodesk Platform Services. For those of you not familiar, I don't know if it is the case of anyone here. Postman is an API testing tool, and it's used for developers to send HTTPS requests, as we are going to do a lot in the next minutes. Postman can be used to test APIs, to debug web services, not only APS, but any API, being RESTful or GraphQL. It is a great tool for understanding. And through Postman, you have a powerful tool in Postman to understand all the fields that you can query, understand the structure of the API, the responses, the average time it takes to receive a response after you send a request. So it's a great tool to connecting and understanding how APIs work. And Postman released a feature called Postman Flow, which is this kind of visual workflow builder, just like you have Dynamo, also Power Automate, Workato. For those of you using ConfUI, is also like that, and it puts together this logic for you to build complex workflows using these requests that you have configured in Postman. We will see a lot of that in the future, in the next steps, next sessions. This is the idea. This is what we are going to build together. First of all, we are going to import our OpenAPI specs to create collections that are going to connect with our APIs. In today's scope, in this tutorial, we are going to connect with OSS, which is our API for storage. Don't worry about that for now. I'll go into details about what is OSS and which other APIs you can connect as well. After that, we are going to configure to manage the authentication. And with that, once we have that solved, once we have that figured out, we are going to create flows just like this one. And flow is this visual workflow leveraging these our collections. The tutorial that we are going to use to build all of this is available in this link that I'm going to share right now for the chat window. Oh, it's not copying. 1 second. Let me try to stop sharing this presentation for a second. Okay, for some reason, I was not able to share this while sharing the presentation, but now you have the link for the tutorial in the chat window. And if you open this link, you go to a page just like this one. This is our first tutorial covering these Postman flows with APS. Okay, so keep this open for now in a new tab. We'll start following this step by step, part 1, 2, 3, and 4 in just a few minutes. Okay, I see there is a question here. Oh, it's the same one. What do you have? Nice. So this is the agenda. First of all, we will have a quick introduction, and setup means that we are going to cover the introduction to APS, what we'll be using, how you can configure your account, and what you need to ensure that to have access to Postman. We need to make sure you have access to Postman and APS. It can be a trial today. And after that, we'll start to create a flow module. A flow module consists of a tiny flow that we create that can be reused into additional flows. We create a flow module to manage buckets, one to manage objects, and then at the end, we'll build a flow that's going to share a dashboard with all the assets of the files that are in our buckets. We'll have short breaks. We can have short breaks or not, depending on how much I have spoken. If I need a glass of water or a few minutes, or if you need some minutes to reproduce the same steps. Okay, so it's up to you. You are going to decide how fast we go. After each section, I'm going to ask, and you can use the chat window so we have an agreement on the amount of time. So now let's go through introduction and setup. Let's take care of our prerequisites first. You need an APS account. You need one to create one APS app. And when you create one APS app, you'll be shared, you have access to these app credentials. These credentials will be used to access the APS services. The service that we are going to use today is a service to manage the storage of design. Storage of files can be any files, but for APS workflows, it makes sense to store designs. And you also need access to Postman, and you need to make sure you can create flows. If we go over here, let me stop sharing once again now and copying this link. All of those actually. If you go to aps.autodesk.com, you'll see this page over here. And this is what you need to do. You need to sign in and create your account. I already have one account. I'll get that simmers. So I already have one account for testing with this tutorial. But if you don't have, the first thing you need to do is create one Autodesk account. After you create one Autodesk account, then you can create one APS account. Those are two different things. And what happens when you create one APS account is that you activate automatically a trial. This trial is valid for 90 days that you can use to call any API, use any service, and experiment with the services available. Okay, so the trial I have is this one. And now for any account, we are also enforcing to use one-time passwords. So you need to either enable multi-factor authentication or use this one-time password that is always sent to your email. Let me grab mine here. 223586. Okay, enter code. And now I'm logged in. And what you'll be able to see, if it is the first time that you are doing this, you see a prompt to accept the terms of use. You need to accept that, choose the APS, provide some additional information, and after that, you'll be able to see a user interface just like this. I don't have any image for this account, but you can go to My Applications, My APS Trial, and so on. If you go over My Applications, at first, it is going to start with nothing because you probably don't have one app. But what you can do, what you need to do is create one application. And addressing the question by Earl Simmers, I hope I'm saying your name properly, you need to specify one name for your application and the application type. So the name can be any name, the name of your choice. Feel free to use a name like low code tutorial. And to start, I recommend you to start with a traditional web app. This changes the way that your app can generate tokens. Our APIs always require tokens to use the service. If you want to create storage to storage designs, you need to provide a token. If you want to download or upload designs, you need to provide a token. And this is going to, depending on the application type that you select, you'll be limited to one workflow to acquire this token. Start with this one as is the most flexible. In this tutorial today, we are going to use always the two-legged token. I'll talk more about that in the next session, but for now, stay with this one. Once you create your application, it is going to be just like this one. And in here, you have access to client ID, client secret. These are your credentials. These are the credentials that you can use to generate the tokens. And this is very powerful. With that, you can create buckets, you can store designs, you can delete designs as well. If this is added to one ACC account, this application will have access to all the data from the ACC, almost all the data, not everything. But in terms of files, it can download, upload, and change folders permission. It can also manage all the services available. So always take care about theirs. This client ID you might need to share with other colleagues, with account administrators, but this client secret should always be kept secret. If you by accident expose this one, just like I did right now, you can always regenerate the secret and use this new one. As soon as I click this option and use this new one, let me do this again because I just exposed it once more. As soon as you do that, the previous secret is not available anymore, is not valid anymore. So you keep your account safe. Okay, you keep your application safe. If you scroll down, you can see additional information about your APS app. You can see the name that you specify. Description, you can add a description that makes sense for your application so you remember later in which context this application was used. The app type, the grant type supported. Since you created the most flexible one, the traditional web app, it supports these two types of grant, these two grant types, meaning that it can connect with or without the user context. This is not important today. We'll use this tomorrow. I already used this here, but this is most relevant for the three-legged workflow. In workflows where we need a user to sign in and in order to generate the first token. Okay, and if you scroll further, you can see this is very important, the API access. Here you can control all the APIs that this application can access. Today, we are only going to use data management API, but just for simplicity, since we are starting with a trial from scratch, no sensitive data is being stored here, you can keep like that with everything selected. But once you move to production, start integrating with accounts and start building advanced proof of concepts, be mindful to limit the access to only what's really required, okay? Every time you do any change, perform any change, you need to click this button here to save the changes. And only after that, your changes have been saved. You can take advantage of that. I saw a question showing team assignment. This is very important, and this is a new feature that we enabled, if I'm not mistaken, March this year or something around that, or April this year. Now, every APS app will be associated with one team. For this account over here, this testfrog plus slowcode25 at gmail.com, I don't have any team assigned. I'm not part of any team for any contract. So it created by default this team that is associated with my account. Your apps, your APS account will always have a team that is associated with your individual account. And if you are added to many teams, you can use this drop down to change the team that is assignment. This is important to verify because every time you you send a request that has a token consumption, the token will be deducted from this team that you are associated. So I have a trial team. If I send any request that incur tokens that has a token consumption, it will be deducted from this trial account that I can use to for whatever reasons for 90 days. But if I had another team here and I change this, instead of having a consumption in my trial, I'll be consuming the tokens from this other team. Is that clear? So if you see many options here, please know that this app will always consume tokens from this team. Great. Can I see some thumbs up if you understood, or thumbs down, or ask a question if that's not clear? Perfect. There's a question, Red Lazik. I don't have data management on that list. You don't have this option here, Red. Can you confirm in the Q&A? You should have all of these options. Yes, we have. It doesn't show. Hmm. Okay, let me just finish walking through this. Let me just finish walking through all of this configuration and then I can share a screen so I can see what's happening in your case. Token use, can you also walk us through how SSA works here? SSA is not in the scope of this tutorial, but we have a guided step-by-step in a blog post and the documentation. Follow the documentation and you're going to see the best way to make it work fast is by cloning the localhost app and then making it work. I'll ask one of my colleagues to share that with you, but we are not going to use SSA here today because it will take a lot of time. Token use, yeah, is just for a specific APIs. The calls that we are going to make today don't have a cost currently, so yeah, you don't need to worry about that because we are only managing the storage. I see 31 APIs. Yeah, you have a different list. If you don't see this option, make sure that your app is traditional web app because if by mistake you create one app with this desktop, mobile, and single page, this app only supports one type of authentication. And by default, it have a the list of APIs is smaller. It doesn't have some APIs like model derivative is not here. Design automation is also not here. So yeah, this might be the case, but I still see data management here. So let's investigate this further. Going back to the low code one, yeah, by default, it only comes with this callback URL. I added this one while I was testing the tutorial that we have for Power Automate, but don't worry, it should be just like that, yours. Okay, no worries about that. Now we understood team assignment. Another great feature that we have from application is collaborators. Think about that. Think about the following scenario. You are working with a team of developers and you want to manage all of the token consumption into one specific account. And sometimes you need to collaborate that the access to your application that you are currently developing with other developers. Someone is focusing on viewer, the other developer is focusing on data management, the other on model derivative or whatever the division you have. In this case, you can always centralize this management into one account, and it can be like aps.dev at yourcompany.com, and then you can add all the developers as collaborators here. You just need to specify the email and the permission that this collaborator will have. We have two types of permission, viewer and editor. If it is set as viewer, it will be access, it will have access, this developer will have access to view all of this information, including the client ID and client secret. And if you share with the editor permission, this developer will be able to change the theme, the API access, and also description name and regenerate the secret. So with that, you can share applications across your team with ease. And also, another great feature is that you can, beyond sharing ad collaborators, you can also transfer the ownership. So let's say you create your storage, upload hundreds of files, and then you just want to hand over all of that to either another team that is going to work on that or your customer. You have a customer that you build everything and you just want to hand over everything. You also have this option. If we go back, we can go over here and transfer the ownership. The only difference is that this feature is only available when you move out of the trial period. So you need to be out of the trial period, and after that, you can transfer the ownership of your application. Now, another another change that we introduced. This one was introduced a few months ago. In the application, in each application page, you can also see the token usage. And this token usage can be filtered by API and by time, by a time span, specific time span. This will let you know how many tokens have been used for your application, and you can filter by API, automation API, model derivative, flow graph engine, and any API that has a token consumption. Okay. Also have API usage here. Yeah, this is in terms of processing hours for automation, and this is in terms of cost associated. Okay. So that covers the account APS account creation and the APS app creation. Now, let me ask, Red, do you still have this issue? Have you checked if you have a traditional web app?
I think, yeah, Joe,
Yeah.
I see Rag is not a guest. I think he might be all that internal. So
Oh, thank you.
he should have different list. I replied to him already.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, John. All right, so moving on. Now, the next prerequisite that you need to fulfill is having access to Postman. So the URL to access Postman is this one. Let me share in the chat window. And you need to make sure you have access to Postman flows as well as collections. If I go over Postman flows, I can see here I still have 37 out of 50 free runs remaining in my free plan. And I have a free plan, and this is more than enough to go over this tutorial. If you want to move this to production, of course, you need to upgrade to have additional runs. And information about billing for the flow feature usage is available in this link over here. I'm also sharing this one in the chat window. And yeah, let me see. Yeah, the free one without flows add-on, you have 500. The following show how many credits you get for each month, depending on their usage. So it should be good enough as long as you have access and sign up with one account. Should be good enough to follow this tutorial. I strongly recommend to download the desktop version. This is the one I'll be using. But as we had a question, and I honestly think that, yeah, you should be able to follow along with the web version as long as you have this feature available, the flows feature. Okay. So far so good. Do you have access to Postman and APS? Can I see some thumbs up? To move on? Awesome. Great. I see some questions. Thank you. And I see, so each client has like however much storage. Yeah, when you have a trial, you have a limited storage with 5 GB, if I'm not mistaken. And after you move out of trial, then you have a bit more storage available to store your designs. So next step, let's import the new Postman collection from OpenAPI specs. We are going to create one Postman environment using our APS credentials, the one that we just created. We are going to set up also the authorization to generate our tokens. After that, we are going to create one OSS bucket. I'm going to talk about OSS now. What is OSS? What is data management? Upload a file, and we are going to list all of our buckets. I see another question. What version of Postman do you have? Good one. Let me see how I can check this here. Help, documentation. Let me see, check for updates. Yeah, this is the one. I'm up to date with this version here. I'm using the latest one. Sharing this in the chat window. So yeah. Now let's first thing that we are going to do is set up our application, set up our collection. To set up our collection, we are going to use the OpenAPI specs. And the API that we are going to use for the tutorial today is the OSS API. You can find documentation about any of the APIs if you go over aps.autodesk.com and click this documentation drop down and go over here. You can see a list with all of our APIs. We aggregated both the desktop and cloud APIs that we have available, and you can filter here based on the industry, the capability, or you can do a search here. For example, data management. Yeah, and we can see data management uh, is over here. Talking about API basics. Data management is the service that's responsible for the storage. And we have two types of storage. We can have the storage on our cloud offerings, on our cloud solutions, like Autodesk Construction Cloud, Fusion Teams, and any other like Tandem. And we can also have the cloud storage managed by your application. This is the scope that we are going to use today. For this scope, for the storage of files outside of ACC, outside of the other applications, we'll be using this service over here, OSS, which stands for Object Storage Service. This service is basically a layer on top of AWS S3. Anyone familiar with S3, AWS S3? Can you react with thumbs up if you are familiar with S3? Okay. Oh, nice. A lot of people. So in S3, you have access to buckets and objects. You have granular control on the regions that you are going to use, the features of the bucket, and you can store files. But in here, what you need to know is that this is a layer on top of that. And inside this layer, inside this scope of OSS, you have access to objects and buckets. You create buckets, you have a set of regions that is increasing. Right now we have more than 5, and you can store objects inside buckets. You cannot create folders inside buckets in this case, so you only have these two levels. You have the list of buckets, and inside each bucket you have a list of objects. When you create a bucket on OSS, you can specify also the transient, the policy, the retention policy that you're going to use. And we have these three options here. Transient, that automatically deletes the files that you upload after 24 hours. Temporary, do the same, but instead of 24 hours, after 30 days. And persistent, that keeps the files forever. So buckets, you're going to create, delete, you can specify the names, globally unique. And with buckets, within buckets, you store the files. Files must have a unique name across the bucket inside one specific bucket. So you cannot have file away and upload another file away into that bucket. They don't have like versioning available in there. Okay. So this is enough about OSS, about what we are going to use on this service. There are many other services, but for the scope of this tutorial, we'll stay with OSS. So far, so good. Any question about OSS? No? So moving on, uh, we every time you release a new API, our job as developer advocates is to share samples, share tutorials, how-to guides, how you can create a bucket, how you can delete, upload, and download files from buckets. All of those steps are available here. And one thing we also do is was usually share collections, share Postman collections. So you can import those into Postman. Now, more recently, our team released also open API specs for a subset of APIs. And with these APIs, we also had the data management open API specs and this and the OSS Open API specs. This means that this is Open API specs, basically YAML file containing the description of the service itself. It has the name, it has the endpoints that can be used, and for each one of the endpoints, we have all of the verbs that we can use, some tags, and this is a standard cross, not specific from Autodesk. This is a platform standard so systems can understand APIs with ease. And this is supported by Postman in a way that we can just grab this information, this specification, and share this with Postman so we can create a collection for us. We don't have this for all of our APIs, but if you are planning to use any of these APIs here, you can count on these open API specs. The idea is that in the future, when we release new APIs and for the legacy APIs without this, we start incrementing this repo so you can integrate with other functionalities in a easy way. For now, let's start by opening Postman and importing our Open API specs. So let's go over Postman. And for that, I'm going to create a new workspace. I'm going to call it live tutorial low code. I'm going to create this workspace, blank workspace. Okay, everyone. Okay, change the name. Let me create this workspace and it comes with nothing yet. Okay. Low code live demo. And I need to click on import. And in here, I can paste the URL to access our Open API specs. So you go back to our tutorial, copy this URL here. This is just the raw content from this specification. Is this link basically. And then we paste this here. Now you to start to read the file, and then we are going to import. And in this case here, we need to view import settings. It will be imported as a Postman collection. Let's view the import settings, and let's reproduce the same as we did, Peter did, define it in the tutorial, so we have the same experience. Just turn off my phone, okay? So naming request is fallback, set indent character. So this, Peter mentioned you don't want to uh, step into these holy wars of tabs against spaces. So feel free to change this. I'll keep it as tab. If you prefer spaces, go on with that. Parameter generation is schema. Folder organization is tags. Parameter organization schema for the organization stat, include authentication info in example requests. That's enabled. We are only going to enable this and always inherit authentication. This is important because we are going to authenticate on the collection level, and all the requests will have the same authentication available. Okay. So after that, we can import our collection. Go back to import settings. And after importing, we can see our collection available here with two main folders, one for the buckets and one for the objects. These are the only two entities that we have available within the OSS API, okay? And we are going to change the name of the collection from OSS to Object Storage Service. So let's copy this name from tutorial and change this here. Now we hit save or Control S that I'm always using. Not following anymore, way too fast, sorry for that. Okay, so first thing we need to do, open Postman. Let me go back, let me see the Q&A. Yeah, copy the I see don't copy the raw link from the OpenAPI spec, and please follow what you see in this tutorial. In this tutorial, Peter guides us through all these steps, like open Postman and select import. And after that, you have the link here already. So you can just copy to clipboard, and then once you select import, you paste it here. Okay? It might be easier than going through Postman and then the chat window. So this is what you need to do. Import, paste the link here, and then view import settings. And then you just need to check if you have fallback, tab, schema, tags, and only the first and left enabled. I see many chat in the a lot of messages in the chat window. Okay, so raise your hand once you are done with this. Once you are at this step over here. Got it? It's missing a lot of folks. The other ones are following and okay. If you are following and planning to do that in a break, also raise your hand. Sorry, only have one monitor. Oh, yeah, that is tricky. You can have split like this. At least on Windows, I can do this and keep like this. This might be easier in case if you have only one monitor. Can someone please share YAML file here? I don't have access to GitHub in my office laptop. So you can access that from the tutorial. If you go to the tutorial, we are over here. In the tutorial, you just need to copy to clipboard and paste that in the import options. Let me check Q&A. Only created workspace. Great, Red. Can you change your import settings or check them after you have set them up? That's a good one, Marcos. Let me check. I don't think so, because this is going to change the how the folders are created. So if you need to change that, the easiest way is to delete the collection and just create a new one. You saw how fast that was done. So just create that one once more. If my colleagues know any way to change the configuration of the import settings. Oh, thank you, Dennis. Yeah, now you can download the OSS YAML file with the specifications of the API from the chat window Dennis just shared. Can we move on after this? Can I see some thumbs up? Awesome. So after this, if you have this exact same configuration, you can go back and click here, import. I'm not going to do that because I already imported this specification. So click here, import, and the options should be Postman Collection, OSS. And after you're done with that, let me know. You should see this here, but instead of Object Storage Service, you'll see OSS. Raise your hand if you have this available already. Okay, great. So rename it to Object Storage Service, just like done here. Over here, Object Storage Service, and you should have it like that. And now we are going to create our environment. Okay, so I believe you already got that. So why we are going to create the environment? If you explore the queries, the requests that were created, we see a lot of places where you need to specify additional information like this one, objects are hosted inside buckets, but you don't have any bucket. I just created this APS application. So I always need to specify a value here. We also need to handle the authentication and anywhere where I need one to pass one parameter that can be used as a variable, I can, instead of hard code those into each one of these individual places, I can just type that in one environment and use this value across all of my requests. One example, I might need to list the objects from one bucket, and after that I want to retrieve the details about this bucket, and after that, I don't know, for any random reason, I need to upload a file to this bucket. So three requests where I needed always the bucket key. Imagine every time I want to send a request, I need to copy and paste this bucket key. So instead of doing that, we always specify environments and use those pointing to environment variables. So if we need to change, we just change once in the environment variable and our entire collection can point to that variable. Okay, you see uh, how the experience is improved if we follow this strategy. So now let's create our environment. To create our environment, we just select the environment button from Postman and select create environment. So let's go over here, environment, and then create one environment. This is going to create a new environment. Taking a lot of time. Okay. And by default, it has no variable. We are going to add our variables. Before adding our variables, we also need to specify one name for our environment. I'm going to use the same one for our tutorial from specified in our tutorial, which is test environment. Change the name. You just need to click here, paste the name, and select enter. Okay. Now we changed the name of the environment. The first environment variables that we are going to specify are our credentials. Remember that I mentioned that for any task that we need to do, any API, any service that we need to connect, we always need a token. And the way to obtain a token is using these credentials. So this is what we are going to do right now. We need to specify this here. Red, there's a comment. I guess there will be no new Postman users after this. Too fast. Is that too fast for this environment variable part? Please raise your hand if you're able to create the environment. Let's do like this then. Every time I create one, I'll ask you to raise your hand, but I'll need you to raise your hand for real because I see only like 10 now with the hands raised. Okay. So wait for a few more. We have 150 and 20 raised hands. Once you are here, raise your hand, please. 32, 33. Yeah, a bit more, increasing. Thank you for the feedback, Red. 32. 34. Yeah, let's do for the next one, let's do the other way around. Raise your hand if you are not able, if you're not there yet. So, okay. Now that we have our environment variable, what we need to do is create two variables. Yes, this recording will be available after the session. We need to create two variables for our client ID and client secret. So we do this by copying this value here, APS client ID, adding this value here, and doing the same for the client secret. The type for the client ID is default because the client ID can be exposed, but the client secret, no, it doesn't. So let's keep the type for this one as default is the type for and the type for this one as secret. Okay. Now the initial value for both of these will be our credentials. Our credentials are available inside our APS portal. If you go back to our application, we can copy the client ID, paste it here. Let me see where better pasted. Yeah, we can paste in the initial value and do the same for the client secret. Go to our app, copy, click on this icon here. This will copy our client secret and paste in the initial value. Now we hit save and we can take advantage of the client ID and client secret, our credentials as environment variables. Okay. Now I'll do the other way around. Can you clear the raised hand? Let me ask you all to lower your hands. Everybody, please. Lower your hands. Everybody. Yes, there are a few people. 1, 2, 3. Now let's do the other way around. Raise your hand if you are not here. Okay, I see 1, 2. Yeah. Once you are here, you lower your hand, then we can move on. And if you have any trouble, let us know through the Q&A or the chat window. Lol, maybe make banner say that says it's being recorded. Yes, this is the most common asked question. So Red, were you able to perform this? Is it okay? Can I see some thumbs up so we can move on? Awesome. So now that we have our credentials, we need to specify to Postman which environment we'll be using. So in this case, we just need to set it here. You see this option, no environment, and then we change that to test environment. After we do that, every time we send a request and refer to this APS client ID and secret, we will be pointing to these values here, the credentials that we have for our application. Okay? Now we are going to set up authorization. You don't need to follow along this, but now I'm going to talk about how the authentication works. Autodesk Platform Services uses the authentication API to manage the access to services and the access to data. And this is done using the standard OAuth 2.0. And through these standards, we have these two types of authorization flows. We have the two-legged token and the three-legged token. In the two-legged token context, we are going to basically exchange this client ID and secret for a token. And this token will be limited to the scopes that you are going to specify. So you're basically going to send one request, and in this request, you also specify what we call the scopes. And these scopes are going to let our backend knows what that this token can be used for. So if you want to create buckets, you need to specify the bucket creation scopes. If you want to only read data, you can specify, you can limit that with only this data read scope. And if you try, as an example, to create buckets with a token that was acquired only with data read scope, you have a 401 permission denied response. Okay, this is how it works. And every time you send this request, you receive a token that's valid for 1 hour. So if it passes 1 hour, you need to send this request once more and generate a new valid token. Always like that. So this is the process that we'll be using with this two-legged token. Grab the credentials, define the scopes, retrieve a token, and use this token in all our other requests. So far, so good. So in Postman, we can define the authorization for individual requests, for one entire folder, or for one entire collection. And you do that by selecting this option here. If I go over this request and change the authorization, configure the authorization here, this will be valid for only this request. So if I send a request to this option here, this will not be saved, okay? So we'll leave always with inherit from parent, and we are going to define our authorization in the entire collection level. To do that, you need to basically click the collection level and switch to authorization. Just like we have in our tutorial, select the collection and click inside authorization. Inside authorization, we need to specify these parameters over here. So let's do that. Select the collection, authorization. Now remember the standard that we use, OAuth 2.0. And in here, let's follow these options. The token name, we are going to use APS client credentials. So the name for our token is over here. And we need to click edit token configuration. Let's change the token name. The grant type is client credentials, not authorization code. So let's change here. Once we change that, we are going to specify that we are going to use the two-legged workflow. And then access token URL is this one over here, authentication v2 token. This is already specified because it was available in our OpenAPI specs. And for our variables, APS client ID and APS client ID secret, we are just going to specify the variables from our environment variable. So APS client ID and APS client secret. The scopes that we are going to use in this case are the bucket read, because we are going to read and create buckets and objects, uploading objects to buckets, creating buckets, and read buckets. So we need all of these scopes here. So just copy and paste that here in the scope section. We are going to send as basic authentication header. This is how our application works. Actually, our application supports both types, sending in the header and send in the body. But let's stay with sending in as basic authentication header. Is already available in here. And then now we can click get access token. And once you click get new access token, it is going to send a request to the token endpoint. Now we can proceed and we need to select use new token. Okay. Now we click use new token, tokens added, and then we save. Now this token can be used across this entire collection. Okay. So before moving on, raise your hand if you are not here yet. The token is valid for 1 hour, Moses. All the tokens are available are valid for 1 hour. After that, you need to generate a new one. Does it automatically generate? Great question. There is one option here, auto refresh token. So it your expired token may be auto refreshed before sending the request. It already says that it's going to expire after 1 hour. So I can always click here before, but with this option, it should automatically refresh if we hit send with after this 1 hour. So yeah, keep this available enabled, and it should take care of that for you. I see 3 people with error on get token. So let me stop sharing my screen. And yeah, many people with error to obtain the tokens. I'll ask Rolf Bagan. Hope I'm saying your name correctly. Can you raise your hand, Rolf, so I ask you to share your screen? Okay. Promote you to panelist. You might need to rejoin. Hi, Rolf. Can you hear us? Can you hear me, actually? Rolf, testing. You can unmute now. Let me ask you to unmute.
Yes. Hi.
Awesome.
Can
Hi.
you hear me? Yeah, I'm on two laptops, so I'm following the tutorial on the one and programming on the other, but
Oh,
I
okay.
just get the error of the error. So I'm not able to share my screen at the
Oh, got
moment.
it.
It's a pity.
What is the error that you are obtaining?
If I said get authentication failed.
Let me try to reproduce this. Can you make sure
Yeah, he said
that you
the
can.
errors could not complete OAuth 2 token request.
Yeah. Do you have all of these options here
Yeah,
enabled?
yeah, for sure.
Like the token is URL is this one, the
Yeah,
client ID and client secret. If you scroll over, you are able to see the client ID and client secret.
there is no value in.
Oh, that's the reason then. So go back to environments
Yeah.
and you see this in initial value and current value.
Ah, yeah, I can see. Yeah,
They are both
thanks.
available here.
No, that's only in the initial value, so the current value isn't available.
Okay.
Okay, I'll fill it in again. Thanks.
But it is already available now in the current value. If I click outside, it automatically replaces, but you can also click here and
No, it doesn't replace.
so you can click these three dots option and
Yeah,
click on reset all. Reset all
yeah,
is going
yeah.
to take the value
Okay,
from
yeah, you're
initial
true. You're completely correct.
and then save. And after that, you go
Then
back
I have to
to
go.
OSS and try to check if you have those available here.
Yeah, okay, I will check it again. But now I'm lost in my screens. Yes, get access token. Yeah, it's complete. Thanks.
Great. Awesome. So for the others, are you still facing issues? I'll move you back to attendee. Rolf, not sure how to make host, change role to attendee. So the others, I see Q&A. How to resolve authentication failed error. Okay, client credentials, token URL. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let me test with the others, and then we do a break and try to solve this for anyone if that's still facing issues. After that, after you acquire your token, you can start testing. And to test, you can create a bucket. Once you create a bucket, you need to specify the region. You need to specify the policy key and the bucket key. Bucket key is the bucket name, and it should be unique across the entire platform. So if you try like test bucket or test APS, probably this is going to fail because someone lucky already got this common name. Okay. There are policies for the name. There are restrictions. The length must be between 3 and 128 characters, and only using these available lowercase and number characters. And yeah, these are the available policies and so on. Let's create our bucket. To create the bucket, we must spend the buckets folder and then send a request using this post buckets endpoint. We just need to change the body. By default, it comes with this body here, but we don't need all of that. We can copy and paste only what's really required according to our tutorial. And for the name, I'm going to use my initials, JM, low code tutorial, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So if I hit send, it is going to create these buckets. Okay, with all the information, the bucket owner is my client ID, the date it was created, and the permission that I have. And if I try once more, you see that I have a conflict, meaning that this bucket already exists. So pick a name, unique name for you, and create one bucket. So who is not available to get there, to get here to this point, raise your hand. And once you are able to create a bucket, lower your hand, please. If you are not here yet, raise your hand. I see some questions in the Q&A. I don't get OSS when importing collection. You should have access to your bucket right now. You can call this first endpoint to be sure. List buckets, and your bucket should be here. In my case, I have this one. JM low code tutorial 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can just move to the first one and list all of your buckets. I created all of these ones just for the tutorial. Okay, I see a lot of raised hands. Are you having issues for this? What is auth ID? I don't see why you get this auth ID. Oh yeah, so if you get this error, valid field bucket key must be in this form. You either have to you need to probably increase the number of characters or change to valid characters to create your buckets. Just use something with just like the ones I created. JM, low code, no code tutorial, use a dash and your initials, that should be an R. Or you can start with your, you can also start with your client ID. So you make sure that this is unique.
Yeah, I see that someone also has problems with the region. Can you show the header for the region?
Oh yeah, let's check the headers. It is not available. It is not enabled yet. So I'm not passing any region. By
Yeah, but
default, if you don't pass
it,
a region, if you use US, go ahead, Dennis.
it defaults to US, but I think that we have someone from other regions also, so maybe EMEA, and this is why.
Oh, okay. So for EMEA, if you go back to our documentation, this is a good point to go to the documentation. We can find the reference guide here under OSS buckets. Post bucket is the endpoint to create a bucket. So the region headers options are this one. Default is US. If you want EMEA, you can just pass this value here. So it'll be just a matter of changing the header here, enabling this option, and then changing to EMEA. Okay? Let me remove this one. Was that the question, Dennis? Or
Yes, but in chat.
oh, thank you. For the ADS region, are we adding a new header called region or changing the original? Is oh yeah, you can. This is deprecated. You're correct. You should add a new one like this, and then you specify the region name, EMEA. Thank you. That was on purpose to see if you were paying attention. So whoever catches more of these flaws will have a prize at the end. So my
Yeah.
colleagues are noting the names of the ones that are 1 point for you.
One thing about kind of a common questions that I see is that people don't use the token in our authentication. So can you show again this authorization thing? It's important to have inherit from auth from parent. And from parent in this case is the buckets. Well, actually, yeah, it's kind of the collection itself, where you are specifying the token. Yeah, so it's important to have that thing inherited from the parent.
In each one of those. By default, it comes with this because it's specifying the configuration. But if you by accident change it, yeah, it should be like this. Thank you, Dennis. So I see fewer raised hands. Let's move on because we don't have enough time. So after that, we created a bucket. Next thing that we can do, next thing that we need to do is uploading a file to a bucket. We already listed our bucket, and now we can upload a file. So to upload a file is very simple. Our API supports the generation of signed URLs. Signed URLs are short-lived URLs. You can specify in between 5 minutes to 60 minutes how much time it's going to work and if it is a single use or not. And with that, this URL can be used to upload or download files to buckets. This is what we're going to do. We are going to generate a signed URL with this endpoint here, generate OSS signed URL, and upload the file using this signed URL. Postman also supports this both uploading from local and then generating, connecting with this API. All right, so let's go over there. And the bucket that we are going to use, let me go to the body, is this one over here. So we need to expand objects. And this is the endpoint that we're going to use, generate signed URL. Before doing that, let me copy this bucket name. Let me copy this bucket name that we are going to, actually, I need to copy this later. Let's go over here. This is the one we're going to use. And for the object key, we set it to test.rbt. The object key is the name of the file that we are going to create in the bucket. And for the bucket key, you see that it comes by default with this giant name over here. Let's replace that with a pointer to this variable, to this bucket key variable. But by default, this bucket key variable doesn't exist. We haven't created that. So let's add one value for this bucket key variable. And we can do that by copying and pasting the bucket key that we just created. Just go back to bucket key, copy this one, and hover over the mouse, the cursor, rest the cursor over this bucket key option. We can enter the value and select add to collection. Okay. Now we hit save. And we also need to specify the access. I'm just following these instructions that are in the tutorial. So access is read and write. And with that, yeah, we have all of the specifications defined by the tutorial. Okay. Let's also set it to use this access. Bucket key specified. You can see that after we select, this is available in our URL. Remove it, available. And now we can send this switch body first, sorry. The raw body will be a empty JSON. This is also missing, yeah. That's because we are not going to specify the minutes expiration and single use. This signed URL can be valid only once, and we can also specify how much time this is going to work, but we don't need to worry about that. So let's just keep this empty, save. And now we can send this request, and this will share with us one signed URL. After we send, we should be able to see this URL based to upload a file with this name inside this bucket. Raise your hand now if you're not here yet, and if you have any questions, Q&A and chat window. How do you add a header? Don't see any control for that. You mean this one, this option here? You should have params, authorization, headers, body for each one of the requests, you always have this header option. Yeah, this is about how do you add one?
Yeah, just go to the header tab, and there is no control. You just type the key where there is a ghosted one. So I mean that here, and the value, and it will be added.
Which instructions? Did I miss anything for the headers? Let me check. Yeah, it's just signed URL for now.
I think that it is related to the region. Remember, we
Okay.
talked about the region.
Okay, that one. Okay, see fewer hands. Yeah, this checkbox here. Thank you for the pointer. Can I move on? Awesome. So now that we have this signed URL, this is the signed URL that we're going to use to upload files. And to upload files, we need to send another request with a different verb, the put verb. This is what we're going to do in these next steps here. So to upload the file, we are going to create a new request. So we can do that by clicking this plus icon here. Let's create over here. And the verb should be put because we are going to upload the file. The body is going to, we use the body to configure the payload, and the URL must be the signed URL for our, that we just generated. So let's go back here, copy the signed URL. The verb here is put. The URL is our signed URL with the region specified. And in the body, we are going to specify a binary option. And we are going to upload a file from our local machine. Remember, the name of the file that we uploaded is test.rvt. So we're going to upload a Revit file. You can find sample files in this link over here. Let me share this with you in the chat window. And I'm going to use this one. Try not to use these ones because these ones are heavier. They are like, some of them are 90 megabytes. This one is just 18. So it is faster for you to upload. And we are going to overload Postman system. So yeah, try the smaller one. I already downloaded this file, so I can just select this here. I'm going to select this here, open this file, and then after that, I can just send this request. After sending this request, I can see the 200 status response, meaning, okay, it was successful. And I can see the details about the bucket key, the object ID, which is the complete address, kind of address for this file, the name of the object, the size itself, and yeah, this is available in our response. Okay. So we have all of these. Now we can list all the objects inside our brand new buckets. And to do that, we can call the get list objects request. We just need to pass the proper bucket key. Before we go there, raise your hand if you are not able to upload a file to the bucket. 6, 8, 11. Any error? Any issue? If you have any issue, please share in the Q&A. James Darrod, can you say that last step again? What do we do after downloading the Revit file? After downloading the Revit file, then you need to add the file in the body of our request. Okay? Can you use, after you add the body into this new request, you just hit send. You're just going to create a new request with the put verb, and the URL is the URL generated by the signed URL endpoint, okay, as this response. So you generate the signed URL, send the request using that signed URL, and uploading the file that we just downloaded. Can we use a non-Revit file? Still trying to download one. Yes, you can use a non-Revit file. You just need to change the object key. So if you change from test.rbt to whatever dot yeah xls or yeah doc, you can upload any file. It's just like a local storage. Can you connect to cloud model in ACC? Or does the file need to be on local machine? The steps are different if you want to connect with ACC, because ACC is using this service. So ACC also is also hosting the file in a bucket. Of course, you can download from the bucket on ACC and upload in your own, but it will be kind of redundant. You can just consume from ACC and do whatever task is required. Okay, so the extension is to match, but not the file name. That's correct. The file name for this file in the bucket is not the same as the file name in your local machine. In your local machine, I can even change this to match, but yeah, it is independent. It's not going to, this doesn't need to be the same. As you can see here, I have RAC basic sample project .rbt, and in here is test.rbt. The same file, but different name. For the ones with the raised hands, what's the issue you're facing? If you are able to upload correctly, please lower your hand. 5, reduced number. Okay, let's have a break after this next test read, and then we go over your case, okay? So now we can list the objects to make sure that we have access to our recently uploaded file. And to do that, we need to specify our bucket key that we are going to list. So copy this value here. This is the pointer to the environment variable called bucket key. And then switch to the get list objects request. So let's go back to Postman. And there is this get list objects request. We are going to change the bucket key value from this giant sample into this pointer to the variable. And now we can hit send. And we are going to see that I only have one object in this bucket because I just created this bucket and I only uploaded one file. So that means that everything is correct. Our file was uploaded into the bucket and our bucket was just created, and so far so good. Okay. Jesse Wolf, where you are at, which step? Now, actually, let's do a break. Let's do a 15 minutes break. And in this break, I'll go over the ones still missing, still needing help to get to this point. After the break, we'll all start from this point and start building our flows inside Postman, okay? After that, we are going to start the flow module to manage the OSS buckets. Not to manage, to query the OSS buckets. See you soon. Resume recording. And share my screen. And now let's take care of our first flow module. In this first flow module, we are going to add a helper request for the OSS pagination. And we are going to create a new Postman flow module that is going to list the OSS buckets, check if the next page is available, fetch next page, and concatenate, aggregate all the results so we can list all the buckets that we have available with our client ID. Then we are going to create a snapshot of the flow module to basically save that, and so that can be reusable later on. All right. So this is what we are going to cover now. And this is the step that we are going to follow. Buckets flow module, sharing the screen with you, sharing this page with you actually. Send it to everyone. And okay, so before we create this helper request, it is would be great to understand one key concept of our APIs and actually any API available. So when we send HTTP REST request, and this is valid for RESTful APIs and for GraphQL interface, GraphQL APIs as well, the service might not be able to reply back with all the data that you have available. Let's say now we are playing around, so we have 10 buckets, like 2 buckets, 3 buckets, so that's good enough. But what if you have like 100 buckets or 1,000 buckets, and across these buckets you have 1 million of files? The result will be too large to be addressed in just one single request. To keep this service responsive and in terms of performance, and yeah, to address all of the requests around the world for the entire platform, these results are paginated, meaning that if you have a large data set, you need to keep, in order to retrieve, to read everything, you need to send more than one request. And the way to control this is through what we call pagination. Endpoints like this one, get buckets, are limited to, by default, retrieve only the first 10 buckets. So if you have more than 10 buckets, you need to handle this pagination. And you handle that by either using the start at, or taking advantage of one field that we have available in our response. Every time I send a response to get the buckets, if you have more buckets than the enough for one page, it will come, the response will come with a next field. And this next field will contain the URL to retrieve the next set of buckets. So if you have 13 buckets, you send the request once, it will come with the next field. You send the request for the next field in the second time, and then you receive 3 buckets. If you have 100, you need to send this request grabbing the next field 10 times in order to retrieve your 100 buckets. So far, so good. You got an understanding of how pagination works and why is that required. Thumbs up if so. Okay. Awesome. So this is what we are going to do now. We are going to add a helper function that is going to retrieve the pagination for us. So to do that, we are basically going to create a new request. So let's go over our collection, and we create this one right off below our collection name. Let's not create inside the folder. So click just add a request. And this request name will be get the next page. So let's call it here, get next page. And this, the endpoint, we are going to, for the endpoint, we are going to set this variable here, next page URL. This is not, this is red because we don't have this value, but there is no problem. As of now, we are going to define that. Let's just add this value to the collection level. So we can do that by hovering over this here, set to collection, and then hitting save. Okay. Now we are going to create our first flow, and this can be used every time we need to retrieve uh, uh, a next page on our URL. It will make sense once we create our flow. So far, so good. Do you have this? If you're not here yet, raise your hand. Let's keep the same workflow. You need to create this one here, this new request, get next page, pointing to this next page URL. JSON, where you are, where you're at right now, where you're able to complete the upload of the file. We have only 3 people with hands raised. Jason, Jesse, and Heather. Oh, I see Heather. Error, DNS lookup, bad name, next page URL. Okay, if you see this red, there is no problem. You're not supposed to send a request here. Probably you send. Yeah, you don't need to send this here. Just leave it like that. It will be used in our flow. Okay. JSON and Pascal, I suppose is by mistake. Earl Simmers is red because there's nothing in it, right? Yes. But that's okay. We haven't specified anything. So right now, let's create our first flow. Remember, the flow is the visual programming, the workflow to create, the tool to create the visual programming to control specific workflows, like in our case, listing buckets and folders, listing buckets and objects from those buckets, and representing all of that with the features available. In our case, we are going to generate a dashboard. So let's go there, select flows, and create a flow module. We need to go over Postman, select flows, and then create flow module. This might take some time. And after that, we are going to rename our flow to list buckets OSS. Click on the 3 dots, rename, and list buckets OSS. And this is the interface for our flow. It starts on this side. We can add inputs, required inputs. And from this, we are going to grow this flow to perform the tasks that we require. Okay. Let me lower your hands. And now raise your hand if you're not here yet. Okay, so far so good. So only Jason. Which error you're seeing, Jason? No? Okay, so let's move on. Then we can, oh, I see a question. Can't create buckets. So this is from the previous one. I'll ask one of my colleagues to start a thread. Adam or Dennis, can you please start a thread with Jason to check what's missing? And then in the next break, we can go back to this with you, okay? So listing the buckets. First thing we need to do in our thread is list our buckets. And to do that, we are going to click in this canvas, the green option, send a request to create a request. And in there, we are going to look for the get list buckets request that we have added in our collection. So let's click here, send a request, and then we find the get list buckets. This is the one we are going to use. Okay. For some reason, it is asking for a APS client secret and ID. Let me just check this here. Inherit from parent. Oh, let me try refreshing this token. $309. Let me go back here. Yeah, let's not worry about that now. Later on, I can try fix this. So we have this list buckets endpoint. And if we run this right now, this is going to start from this start point, and sends a signal to start this new node here and list all of our buckets for us. So let's give it a try. Let's run. And we can see that in the output, we have the response with our items and the next option. As you can see here in the items, we have 10 buckets. I created more than 10 buckets for this demonstration. So that's why you see 10, even though I just created one in the tutorial. And we also have the next field. This is the next field that we use to point to the next 10 buckets, that next buckets that are going to pass the first 10 returned by the response. Okay, so this is how you're going to manage the pagination. This will be very useful. I see a question. One thing I'll be curious about before this ends is if you could give an opinion on when she's Postman flows over Workato. Oh yeah, let's save it for the last session. Okay. Now, we need to move on with the next step, grabbing from the success. In this case, the message was successful. The status was 200. So we have this response here being passed over this success output. If it fails, it will be passed to this fail output. So we need to move on to the next step. Now in this option here, we are going to grab this success output and pass it to the next step. We are going to drag and drop, and over here, we are going to we are going to choose the select field. This select field, the select node will let us select one of the fields available in our output. So we are going to grab first this one here for the items. So we can type body items, and we are going to do the same for the next field. So in here we have all of our items, and in here we have all of our next field to be used in our flow. We can also do that by dragging and dropping these fields over here. If we do that, it will also be available. Okay, whatever you prefer. Let me delete this one here. So far, so good. Raise your hand if you're not here yet. This part will be tricky if you don't follow. How did you get list buckets? So this is one request, the request that we specified before. Okay? I don't have body.next available. Jesse, you don't have that available probably because you just created this APS application, and yeah, you probably only have one bucket. So if you only have one bucket, you don't need to address pagination. So the API is not going to return this next field for you. To test, you can create more than 10 buckets, just like I did. Okay. So let's move on. Let's move on. Now that we have our body, next, and field, we also have this step by step in recording. Should be like this. Now we can check our next page. And to check the next page, we are going to add a condition field, a condition block. This condition block will let us add a TypeScript method, TypeScript function. And based on this function, we have two possible outputs. If it is true for the condition check, or if it is not. So let's do all of these instructions to verify if there is a next field or not. The idea is that this workflow is going to consider all of the scenarios, if we have more than 10 buckets or not, and handle automatically the pagination for us. So let's click the plus block and select the condition. So let's click here, the plus block, and select here condition. And click here. In the condition, we are going to make sure that this is going to use the TypeScript language for this expression. We can check that by selecting this drop down over here in the right corner. We don't use this one. By default, mine is coming with TypeScript, so make sure yours is also set to TypeScript. We are also going to connect the output of the select block extracting the body items to the first input of the conditions, and we are going to rename it as results. So these items here will be in the first variable, and the name for this variable, it will be results. Now we are going to do the same for the select, but with the next field, and set it to the second input. And we are going to name it next. So let's copy this here into the second variable and name it next. Okay. Now our condition, inside our condition, we are going to rename it as has the next page. Let's rename it to has next page. Oh, sorry, was not this one, was this one here, has next page. Let me move this back to condition. And this condition is going to verify if the field, the value for this next is available or not. So we paste this over here. And every time you receive this, it is going to check if the value for this variable here is available. If it is available, then we are going to send the output to this here. If this is not available, then we are going to send to the full. Okay? So in the cases of those of you that just created the bucket, you won't have a next field available. So you just the workflow will just go over the second output over here. Okay. We also have this field, this video here, step by step. Create a block first, create a condition. The first value is body items, second value is body next, has next page, and the evaluation. So far, so good. Everybody here? My list bucket failed. I see some questions. I don't have the body next. Yeah, if you don't have the body next, it just means that you have less than 10 buckets. There is no problem with that. And yeah, you are able to move on. Raise your hand if you're not here yet, please. My list bucket failed. So if you click on run, what do you see here? Can you click this option and select and share what is available here, Kevin? should have in the output here the items and here the next field. And in here, if you select, you see that the output default, there's nothing, and there is the items plus the next field. My binary is false, Okay. Let me stop sharing and ask you to share a screen. Server code 404. Let me promote you to panelist, Kevin. Yeah, and if you don't have bottlenecks, let me just answer live. There is no issue. Hey, Kevin, can you hear me?
Oh, sorry.
Kevin,
Yes, I
no
can.
worries. Can you share a screen so we can see what's happening?
Yeah, let me share the screen here. Where's my share screen? Share. There we go. And screen one, I believe this is my, here it is. Let me know if you can see it now.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay.
Okay, it fails. Server responded with 404. So it means it is not finding your bucket. Can you go back to your collections?
Yeah.
And let's see what we have in the list bucket, list objects. List objects, not list buckets.
Oh, list objects.
Oh no, sorry. That is list buckets. You're okay. Go back to your flow once again. List buckets, OSS, the flow, yeah, this one.
Mhm.
Oh, you have the incorrect URL. You have the list objects.
Is
Using
this the,
the
okay. Okay. All right. I should be able to change those here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? The
click
screen's
the
gotten a
edit
little bit.
option.
Where are we here? So let's
Yeah,
click on this. Object
probably this
storage,
one. Buckets.
buckets, list bucket.
Yeah, list buckets. Now
Aha.
hit run once more, please.
Should I save or just hit run?
Just hit run, yeah.
That was it. I had objects, not buckets. No,
Okay.
binary false. Now, I did run into an issue earlier. Remember, I asked you about the size? I could not
Yeah,
get an item because I everything was too large. So
all of your files are too
yeah,
large.
for the file was too large to bring in. So
Okay, you can grab one of the example files from the
that's what I
tutorial.
did. That's what I
It,
did. It was
oh,
like 16 megabytes, and it said it was too large.
really? Should not happen. Okay. So can you share me what the response message from the upload?
Oh, from what? From the bucket or from?
From the collection. Let's see the upload logic that you had.
Okay, list bucket. Is that where we're going
There
here?
are some message. I got a warning about the limit being 5 megabytes, possibly a free version limit.
Yes, that's
Oh, in this case,
yes.
just for this demonstration, you can upload a text file. We are not
Oh,
going to
okay. All
perform
right.
any translation.
All right. So
So
let's see. I have to remember how did we get there? Um,
first thing is generate OSS signed URL over here.
Say it again.
I just mark it in your screen. So you
Ah,
see.
there we go.
And yeah, you go to params. I not can't see.
Oh,
Can
it's
you?
it's yeah.
There you go.
Here we
And in here you change the name. if it's not a RBT, can be a text file, whatever, just to test it, to experiment the process. A very small one.
Just a text file.
Yeah, or and then you upload the text file, a very small one, in case you are limited by any free tier.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Very good.
So we need to move on. Try this following the tutorial, and then in the next break we go back. Okay, we try to
Okay.
debug together.
Sounds
So
good.
let me clear my drawings and move you back.
Let me stop sharing.
Let me move you back to attendee. Anyone else with issues? I see Brandon Miller. No? Okay, so let's move on. We still have a lot to cover and not much time. So now in this condition block, we are going to grab the default output. The default output is in the case, in case the condition fails, the condition returns false. Or in our case, when we don't have the next field. So then if we have next field, or in my case over here, I can see this. If I don't have next field, it will return the default option. So now we are going to drag and drop an output block and rename it uh, all buckets for this case. So let's go back to Postman, grab this default half gray circle, select an output block, and the name will be results. This will output with these two fields. In our case, we only want the results fields. So instead of creating a separate select, let's just grab the results inside the enter path. So let's copy this here. We only want the results, and let's call it results as well. At the end, we only want the results, all of the buckets aggregated. That's why we are doing that. We are going to create a loop here to traverse all the pages, handle the pagination, and at the end, we are going to return as the output the results. This entire flow here, as a module here, will be available for us to call in within one single box like this one. So that's our idea, our overall idea. Okay. I see. Gotcha. Thanks. No message. So now that we got the end defined, let's take care of the logic to fetch the next page. So whenever there is a next page in the result, we are going to fetch the next page and repeat the process again. So first thing you need to do is add a new HTTP request blog and choose the get next page helper that we created. So let's go over there. Let me zoom in, add a block, HTTP request, add it here, and the request will be get next page. Okay. And this get next page requires us to pass the next page URL variable. Okay. Now we are going to connect the output of the next has next page into our condition block from our in our condition block to the input of the get next page block. So it will be just like this one here. This has next page field is going to grab over here as an input for the get next page, and with that we are going to return the next results. Let's first of all do this. Inside here we add as our input for the get next page URL, and this is the path that we are going to retrieve from this output. So let's call it next. And if we run it once more, just to verify, we can see that this is passing as an output the next 7 items. So here I have the next 7 buckets. I received here the first 10 buckets with the next page. Then I'm grabbing the next field with the next page, calling our helper method and retrieving the next page, in my case, only with 7 plus buckets. Okay. So were you able to do this? Who is not here? Please raise your hand if you're not here already. Can I share object URL with others if they don't have access to the APS? You mean the
Yeah.
signed URL?
I was about to answer this one.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, go ahead.
It is possible to share, but it's not just taking the URL and pasting that kind of to, or sharing with others. It is possible to create so-called self-signed URN that will basically embed the authorization already there. And also it will be valid, that link, only for 1 hour. So it means that you can kind of pass around. But again, we are now using this from the scope of developer. So the developer has only access to it.
Awesome. Thank you, Dennis. Any other questions so far? I see one raised hand. So Vipul, any error? No? Okay. Lower hand. So, okay. Just like adding the list buckets, let's just follow this. Fetch next page. We have the condition into the input of the get next page, running the flow, and you can see the next page with items. Now, just like when we added the list buckets block, we are going to extract the items and next field from this get next page, and we are going to connect these selects that extract the body next to the input of the condition. So it's going to be just like this video. We are going to grab this new pair. We have a new pair of lists with a list of buckets and a new next page. And this new next page is only if you have more than 20 buckets. And this output will serve as an input to repeat the cycle. So we are creating here a loop. And this loop is basically listing the first 10 buckets, verifying this condition. If it has a next page, we are going to pass the next page URL over here, send the request to retrieve the next page, retrieve the new available buckets, retrieve the new next page, and pass this over to the condition. So we'll keep doing that until there is no next page anymore. And when there is no next page anymore, it means that we traversed all of our available buckets. So let's go ahead right now. What we need to do is grab this success, this output, and then here we need to add a select node, and this will have against the body.next, and this body.next, let me add this here, will be passed over this next input over here. Okay. Can you hear me? I just lost my internet connection for a few seconds.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Awesome, thank you. So everybody here, you got the understanding? If you understood the concept, how we are going to loop, please thumbs up. I see a lot of thumbs up. Awesome. That's great. So going back, now we are going to concatenate all of these results. And to do that is every time we receive a new page, we are going to group that into one variable that is going to be passed at the end of the entire flow loop. Okay. So what we need to do is use the plus block option and select one new evaluate block. So let's go over here and let's name it evaluate block. Create it over here. Now let's connect the select block that extract the items of the body from this next page and add as an input for the evaluate block. And we are going to name these items. So let's go over here. Let's name these items. And in this case here, we need this body items select options. So you grab this one, copy and paste it here. So in here, I have all the items from the second page, okay? This is the second page of our request, second list page containing our buckets. Now we are going to connect the output of the has next page condition into our condition block in our condition block to the second input of evaluate, and we're going to call it results. Condition block. Let's go to condition block. This is the condition block. Let's follow this tutorial, actually, this video. Body items here. And in this case, yeah, this other case, this other workflow, when you loop through this in the second time, we are going to filter to retrieve only the results. Yes, that's it. So go back to here. And this will contain our results. And the name here, we are going to need to name it as the results in the file path as well. So what happens is we run this the first time, receive the first 10 buckets together with the next field. This is going to be returned the first time over here. We will pass it to the next page. Next page, you're going to retrieve the next, in my case, 7 buckets, and also be passed over these results. This evaluation will aggregate everything, and the next field will be passed here once more. With this new next page, we retrieve the next list of 10 buckets if required and keep looping through this. And while this block fetches the next page, this block, it will keep aggregating all of the results that we have. The results from the previous bucket together with the results that we have in the new request. So to do that, we need to pass this value over here, this function, this method over here, that is going to concatenate our results. So this needs to use TypeScript, already good. And with that, we are good to check the response. At the end, these results here will need to be passed to our output. Let me just check here. Data come from enter path. Yeah, we'll pass this over here. And if that's, we can run our workflow once more. Now, if we run, we can see inside our results the output here with our, in my case, 617 buckets. Since I only have 17, it will go once to this get next page, retrieve the next page, retrieve the new buckets, aggregate all of them here, and return as the results output. Okay, it will only fall to this case here when there is no next page. And when there is no next page, it means that we traversed the entire context. Were you able to follow this one? Raise your hand if you don't have this running with all of the buckets returned in the results. Only Kevin? So I'll ask you, Kevin or Heather, to share the screen. Let me stop sharing. And let's go from yours. Kevin Harrelson. Let me promote you. Oh, you need to do it another time. Anyone else? Dennis, John, or Adam, can you promote Kevin to panelist? Oh no.
I'm doing right now. I promoted Kevin.
Maybe something changed when I dropped my connection. Yeah, I don't see this option either to promote. Raise your hand if you're not able to retrieve the results with the flow. No, nobody raise your hand. Okay, I see a few. Tom Finlayson, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. That's strange. I'm not able to promote you.
Dennis, you should be able to. You're the host now. Oh, Joao, now you're a host as well. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
thank
tried,
you.
but I cannot do so. But I see an option to move Joe as a host.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
interesting
Yeah,
that I
I
see
have this option. Yeah, he changed it.
Yep.
Thank you. So, Tom, can you share your screen?
I think so. One second here.
Awesome.
Zoom 1 second.
Okay. Everyone else was able to return the results? No issues? If you had any issue, feel free to drop in the Q&A. Awesome. This is very important. If you have any workflow to list folders, files, or I don't know, issues, for any API, you always have the pagination. And the only way to make sure you are returning or fetching everything is addressing pagination. So this logic can be reused regardless of the API you're connecting. Done? Oh, now I see it. Awesome. Okay, let's see the condition. Next, okay. And I see it is returning, has next page, so it has more. Okay. Body items go to evaluate. And inside evaluate, oh, the results
So
are
then
coming
here,
from.
I get a
Okay.
null on the 10. That's what's supposed to be doing. Nothing really happens in this one.
How many buckets do you have? Do you know? If
11.
you call list bucket, can you call list buckets? Not oh, you created many. Okay,
Let's
all right,
see.
got it. Can you run this flow once more? Let's see. Yeah, you have next. Okay, you have next. Let's check the results from the evaluate, from leaving the evaluate. You have 10 items, so it seems to be passing something correct. Let's follow the flow from the beginning, okay? Can you go to the first list buckets, please? Okay, success. In case of success, you retrieve the body items and the body next. Now let's check the condition. Results from body items and next from body next. Has next and default. Okay, let's check first the has next page. Has next page. In case of true, you have one going to the next page, get next page URL as a next page URL with next field. That's great. And then you grab the body next, and this is used again as the input for the condition. Perfect.
Okay, and that's a question mark because we don't have 21.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's okay. So now let's see the other one leaving the has next page from the condition. Has next page also leaves to the results.
Sorry, I lost you there. Oh, I see. That's
Yeah,
here.
also leads to the results. Results is going to concatenate. Okay, concatenate. And now let's check the default. Default is leaving only to one. Yeah, that seems to be right. Oh yeah, that's my
All in
mistake.
the chat is
Yeah, yeah.
it should go back to the evaluate, not to the final result, because that's how you make
Should go
loop.
back to yeah, that's it should go to
This one here.
condition, not
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Like this.
Yeah, now you got it. Can you run it once more? I got the same here. That was on me. Sorry for that, man. Let's check the output. The input in there. How many do you have? I see some no. It's for the next. That is okay. But there's a strange no for one of the buckets.
It's coming out of this one. I have this formula correct.
Yeah, this is correct. It seems that there is one no being passed from one of the buckets. Yeah, that is strange. Let's see. Can you go to the collection and list the buckets?
Hmm. What do you mean?
Go to the collections over here.
Oh, okay. Oops.
Yeah, list buckets. This one over here.
Okay. I've never used this before.
Yeah, can you send this one?
I get this.
Scroll over. Okay. And now copy this URL over here. and paste it in this field over here. Actually, go here, hover over this variable. Yeah, add the value in there. Yeah, save it and hit send. Let's see what we have in there. 10, 11, 12, 13. So you have 13 buckets. Go back to the flow, please. And let's see the end result, the output. Clicking there, yeah, the output. How many do you have?
11. 10 is
Yeah,
null.
so there's something off for this one. And the 10th, the 11th is null. Let's go over the flow once more, please, from the beginning. Success, body items, that's okay. Let's go back, check the conditions. Condition 1, results and next. That's okay. Yeah, has next.
These don't need path or anything.
No, that's correct. Has next, go back to the next page. Yeah. And success fails. Can you click on this get next page? Just check the input and output. Yeah, let's check the input. 10 items and the output. Expand the body, please. Expand. There are 3 items living there. So far, so good. Now let's check the evaluate. Goes to items. Can you click on evaluate? Mhm. Body items go to items, and the result is coming from. Can you check where this result is coming from? Oh, you see, you have body items in the evaluate in the first variable. Remove that because you are already selecting only the items from the select code block. So yeah, now try running once more.
Should I do that for this one as well?
No, this one is correct because this one is returning from the condition output. So the condition output has next and the results. So run
Okay.
it
So if
once
you do it out
more.
of a block like this without the select block, you need to put something in here.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. So let's see it now. Let's check the output. How many?
That's
Yeah, we
yeah,
have
that's better.
13.
Okay.
Now it's correct. Awesome.
And then
Thank you
okay,
very
this has
much.
all that. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else facing any issue? Let me move you back to attendee. And one mistake I did for this one, need my second coffee. The result from evaluate must be passed to the condition results, not directly to the output. Okay, this is one of the tricks that we had. So 1 point for you, Paul. Awesome, you got it. I see 2 Q&A, 2 questions. Is it due to the get next speed configuration? Raise your hand if you're still facing issues for this step. Who is this one? Zuhir. Hope you're saying your name properly. So let's do like this. Let's do a break right now before the next steps, which is the OSS module. And in this break, I'll go over Zohir's issue. Okay. Let's do what time is it now? 10 minutes break. Okay, we go back at 5 past 3. Okay. So let me record once more. And in this second, in the next step, we just need to change from list buckets to list objects. Add the bucket key to the input on the start node from the flow. And over here in the output, we are going to change from all buckets to all objects. Apart from that, everything is going to work the same because the structure of the response is the same regardless of being connecting to buckets or objects. We are always pointing to items or the next field in the body. Is anyone facing issues with this part? From listing buckets to clone and make it list objects. My list objects node says it is failing. So Pascal, can you please raise your hand? I'll promote you to panelist and then you can share a screen. Awesome. You should be able to share a screen now, Pascal, and unmute. Let me ask you to unmute. Can you hear me? Pascal?
Hello? Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. I'm not gonna try to pronounce your second name, but yeah,
No problem.
how does that sound? Can you
It's Devo.
Deva? Okay, Deva.
Yeah, I'll just share
Can you
my
share a
screen.
screen? Yeah.
Is that working?
Yes, I can see it. Now I see you added the bucket key value in there.
Okay, great.
Now let's see why this is failing. If you click this node, this list objects node, and let's check the output. Can you expand the body? So requested resource does not exist. Okay, so are you sure you created a bucket with this name?
Yes, I think so.
Let's go
if I
back to
check.
the list buckets then. If you go to collections. Oh, not there, sorry. In here, yeah. Can you copy that one?
But
Go
that's
back to the
yeah.
flow. Oh, go ahead, Adam.
That's for EMEA, right?
Oh, so
Oh,
does it have to be US?
No, but
no,
I'm
it
not sure
doesn't
if
have to be.
in the
Go
flow
ahead.
you have to specify the same region, right? Or do you have to specify when you're checking the? Maybe not.
Let me
Ah,
check
okay,
in the
maybe I'm wrong.
documentation.
Yeah, maybe in that case you don't have to specify.
I think I was having an error on this page as well. My HTTP request wasn't coming through.
Let's check the error message. Can you click there? Let's try from the collection before going to the flow. Can you go back to the collection and list buckets? That's okay. Can you try the list objects, this over here? Yeah. Yeah, that's working as expected. Now go back to the flow, please. Let's try the list buckets. And can you zoom in there? Yeah. Click on this one, please. This node. Yeah. And what is the input? What we have in next? I see 3 items. It should not be 3 items. Oh, that is incorrectly placed. So expand one of these items. Yeah. So let's go back in the flow. You see this next page URL? Let's follow this line. Yeah. Zoom in the condition, please. And go to this size. Let me see what is there. There are 2 select blocks in here. Yeah, you see both of them are body items. One of them should be body items and the other one should be body next. You see this one
Oh,
should
I
be body
see.
next. Yeah, can you try running once again? Okay, there is no
This
next
works.
page probably. Let's see if this everything's. And can you click here just to check if everything is
Oh, sorry.
okay in the end? In this one here. Oh, in the output, the last node from the flow. No, let's check go up here. And in here, this node. Yeah, let's check the input results. Yeah, this is working. Since you only have 3 buckets, it is never going to pass to the next page, iterate to the next page workflow. So this is okay. Now let's go to the other one. You need to change the same thing. You see button next. Oh no, this is correct. This is correct. Okay. So now let's see why this is not working. Can you expand this here? The body. More info, error handling. Can you check this option here, please? Let's see what URL this is using. Click to edit this option here. Yeah, select OSS and then objects, list objects. And try to run. Still failing. And if you try this endpoint, copy this value, please. Let's see if there is no spacing there over here.
Which value, sorry?
This one from scenario 1, the scenario you're using.
Okay.
Oh, no. Don't need to, don't do that. Yeah, that's going to break everything. And go back to the collections. List objects. And in here, change the value of bucket key. Hover over bucket key, yeah, and change its value. Oh, no. Change the value of the variable, not hard coding. Control Z. Control Z, yeah. Just hover over this bucket key here, yeah, and change the value. Paste the value that you got. It is the same. And now send this request once more. Okay, it is working. You have two list objects. I see only one list object, so we are pointing to this one. Let me see if is there any hint. This is saved. It is saved. Okay. Go back in there in the flow, please. Yeah, the second one. Check the input, please. In here, the input. Oh, no, this one here. Yeah. Oh, so it's not reading the input. It is being received as without an input. Let's do one thing. Close this scenario here. Close this option.
Which one, sorry?
This one here. Yeah. Now click on run. Let's see if this is going to ask to create a new scenario where you can pass the. No. Let me check here how we can create a new scenario. Let's do thing. Save and create a snapshot. Now, instead of running, click on the arrow pointing to the top, this arrow here. Oh no, I'm pointing to the bottom of the page. So this here.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Now edit this arrow, this scenario. Now paste your bucket key. And hit save. Now run this workflow. Okay, it was not saved.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
No worries. No, that's the idea. That's the great part of these live tutorials. We can debug together. Just to make sure, can you please check what's the output here? Yeah, actually the input, right? It's gonna be okay. Yeah, perfect. So you're good to go. Awesome.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's great.
Can you stop sharing your screen? So yeah, I'm going to move you to attendee once more. Anyone else with issues on this part? No? Okay, so let's move to the final part of our tutorial. I hope you're okay with no breaks. We are out of time already. So let me share my screen. Now we are going to create one example flow. And this example flow is going to leverage all of our previous modules that we created. Want to loop through all the buckets. And for each one of the buckets, we are going to loop through all the files in our buckets, we are going to sum all the sizes of OSS objects for each bucket, and we are going to share everything in a dashboard. This dashboard will have the total size being stored into each one of our buckets, okay? And since we are looping, we are handling the pagination, we will be addressing that for the entire storage that we have. So let's do that in our tutorial. Already created a snapshot, try that out. Now let's go over the example workflow. We need to create a new flow. So we are going to create new, select new and create new flow. And we are going to name it as OSS storage report. So new flow. And rename it as OSS storage report. Okay. First thing we need to do is iterate over all the buckets. So you're going to add a new block, and this new block will be a flow module. And we're going to look for the module that we just created. Flow module, and let's call it list buckets. No flow modules available. Probably something wrong. Let me check this. Created a snapshot. Yeah. Let me hit save here. Let me check the workspace that I'm using. No code. Try restarting Postman. Okay, let me give it a try. Oh yeah, it's over here. Funny thing is that last time I did it was not needed. I just created and was able to do this flow module. Oh yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Philip. So let's list the buckets first. And now after that, this is going to return for us all of the buckets. And after that, we need to look for each one of the buckets that we returned from the replies. So for that, we are going to connect the output, all buckets, with a for loop. So let's go over there. I think we need to create a block, right? Yeah, let's create a block. List access models, create item with the for loop. Create a block with the for loop. So we connect this output with all the blocks or all the blocks with the input for the for loop. This will receive all the records, and in this case, we are going to add the bucket key to the input. Let's follow all of this. And for each one of those, we are going to list all of the objects available. Okay, yeah, and in here we need to specify the path that we want. So let me add our new module. In here, we need to specify the inputs. And in our case, we need to specify the bucket key fields from each one of our buckets. Each bucket from our response will have all of the fields returned by the API. So the details about the bucket. It will have, I believe it has the region as well. So that's why we need to specify this here. After we have that, we are going to start calculating the file size for all of our items inside one bucket. And then we are going to aggregate that to pass to the remaining piece of the flow. Let me just run for now so we can check everything. And in the output, this is looping for all of the thing. And yeah, for each one of these cases, we can see the individual outputs. You can see all of our buckets here. Yeah, the output being each one of the buckets. And that's it. Okay, so far so good. So far so good. Can see some thumbs up if you're able to go through here. No? Only one? Sure. I hope this is not just Dennis and Adam clicking on the button multiple times. No? Okay, so let's move on. Now let's go to add a block to calculate all of that. So we are going to add an evaluate block and connect the item for the 4 with this one. Let's add this evaluate block over here. And inside we're going to connect to the input, the item of the 4 for the, let me just check this option here. Yeah, we are going to loop through each one of the buckets. And pass our evaluation method inside this TypeScript command. Okay. So let me close this one. First variable to the bucket here. Second variable to the all objects into this second variable here. The first one will be named as bucket. And the second one will be named as objects. Now you're going to enter this following TypeScript expression into here. And you always need to check if the configuration for the evaluate field is set to TypeScript. In this case, that's okay. That's yes. And after that, we are going to display these aggregated results using one display module from the Postman collection. This can use many options for display. We are going to select the bar chart one. And with the bar chart, we'll have for each one of our buckets, the aggregated amount of size of files hosted in there, or files stored in there. So let's grab the result output, connect to a collect block. And after that, we are going to pass this to a display. This collector is going to create an array again. We are grabbing the objects for each bucket, creating an object with the bucket key and the total amount of size. After that, we are going to aggregate these in an array and displaying this array in this display block. Okay, so let's use a collect one for this field. Can add a new block collect. for each one of these items. This is going to return a list. And then at the end, we are going to add a display with the bar chart option. Let's change text auto to bar chart. And if we run that, we just reduce the size of this one. This case, I have 13 buckets. So it's looping through everything. And at the end, we have the display with all my buckets. I only added files to the bucket that I tested yesterday and one file to this bucket that I tested today. So just like we did for the entire buckets, we could aggregate as an example for issues or any other API supported by APS. Okay. Please raise your hand if you're not able to complete this display with the file size per bucket. No? Send a thumbs up if you're able to complete this, please. You're only creating one bucket. So yeah, if you only created one bucket and one file, you probably have, yeah, the size of one file and this one bucket retrieved here. Because basically we are listing all the buckets. For each one of the buckets, we are going to list all the objects inside. And then we grab the bucket key, the bucket object, and aggregate the bucket object with the total size of all the aggregated size of all the objects returned here. And then we are going to we are passing that as an array, as a list, and at the end displaying this complete array of objects as a bar chart. If you only have one, yeah, you can create multiple. And what I did to create multiple buckets was simply using this post bucket endpoint here. And from there, you can keep changing this name. Just add this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And to make it automatically just for testing, you can even leverage this script. This is one great feature from Postman. You can use pre-request and post-response scripts to keep changing your environment variables. And with that, you make create one automatic flow to send multiple requests. Okay. Awesome. So with that, we created one workflow handling all the pagination for buckets and objects. And like that, you can, with these same ideas, with same context, you can also manage the pagination for any API that we have, any RESTful API that we have. GraphQL is a bit different. And yeah, I'm curious to learn what you're planning to implement in the future. If you have any questions, so feel free to share your questions through Q&A. Okay. And with that, we completed the tutorial, but we are not done yet for these low code and no code trainings. Tomorrow we have the Power Automate one with APS, and on Thursday we'll have the ACC Connect one. After this event, at the end of this week, you should expect an email with the links to the sessions recordings. They will be shared on YouTube. And if you want to take your newly acquired skills to the next level, we have different programs. We have Lightning Talks available for all the others APIs. We covered data management through OSS today. Tomorrow we'll cover more about ACC connection. And yeah, the other ones like automation and yeah, model derivative. We have a lot of content on that. We every time we release a new API or we find a new integration, we have a new workflow available or any feedback from the community, we create blogs as well. So feel free to check out our new blogs with cool contents and samples and updates about our APIs. All of that's available there. And if you are planning to create a proof of concept, you already have a project in mind using your Autodesk Platform Services, you are free to join one of our accelerators. Accelerators are like hackathon, and they have 1 week where you can leverage the help from the developer advocate and support team. We all travel to the same place and we code kind of together. We're not going to code your solution directly, but we are there to address your questions, concerns, and even build a quick proof of concept. Okay. We have support through Stack Overflow, community support. And if you are part of Autodesk Developer Network, you can count on a dedicated channel to address your questions. ADN members can use this channel to submit questions that are addressed with faster response by the developer advocates team. We also have an event before AU. On the first day, before the first day, kind of the day zero, we have an event focused on APS and is the Platform Leadership Forum. So ADN members get a 35% discount. There is a code for that in the ADN portal. And yeah, if you can find it, let us know. Reach out to us. And yeah, I hope to see many of you. We have many cases on AI, sustainability, and many integration across platforms. We have a lot of great networking in there. We also are planning one online training on ACC APIs, and that will be on November after AU. And you can check this and other tutorials available on demand on YouTube channel. If you check for Autodesk Platform Services on YouTube, you see a lot of great content there. We are also planning a new video series covering vibe coding, the term vibe coding, which is changing right now, and integrations with AI. So stay tuned for that. These are the next accelerators that we'll have. We are planning one in Bangalore in August. October, we'll have one in Munich. And yeah, for Americas, we have one in Denver, the end of October. And in EMEA, we have Paris and Athens already scheduled. I hope I said this name properly, Athens. And you can follow us on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and any of my colleagues. We also have a YouTube channel and the newsletter. Every time we have a new update in the API or any breaking change, any new API released, we share that through the newsletter. So from subscribing to the newsletter is the best way to know what's going on. Before we leave, I'll ask you to answer this quick poll. Let me launch it. Only 4 questions, so please answer that one for us. And this will help us make this experience better for the next time. All right. So I'll leave this for a few minutes for you to reply. I see some question here. I made more than one bucket, but lost them. Found the issue. I tested some region. That's the issue. Now they are in 2 regions, US and EMEA. Yeah, you can create buckets in any of the regions available. I don't know if I can participate tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow is different focus and yeah, also low code. We are going to use Power Automate, but you can check the recording later. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Zohir. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. Earl Simmers, I stepped away for just a moment, but now we have all this. What to do with it? So yeah, let me just stop sharing the screen and let me know at which stage you are right now. So if you need me, you can share a screen. Let me stop sharing. Can you raise your hand, please, Earl Simmers? Oh, you don't have a mic? You don't have a microphone? Okay. So yeah, there's no problem. As long as you can share a screen, we'll be able to help better. Oh, you mean with this flow, this entire flow? Sorry, I don't understand what you mean exactly. With the flow or with this the context, the events that I was sharing. Okay, got it. Where you can apply this flow. So through this flow, is more about the learning experience, not being just something 100% practical. What we did from the beginning, from scratch, from until this point, is we imported this collection from the Open API specs. Once we imported this collection from the Open API specs, we managed the authentication. And after managing the authentication, we created this flow that addresses pagination. Uh, and then after that, it aggregates all of this data from buckets and mostly this file size from buckets and objects, sorry, in buckets, and share that into a display. So now you know how to import and create collection by importing OpenAPI spec. How you know now you know how you can manage the authentication on Postman and how you can create Postman flows. Maybe this was not 100%. This is not practical. This is not meaningful to your workflow, but you can do the same. Let's say with the OpenAPI spec for construction as an example. So in here, we have account admin available. So you can use this same workflow to loop as an example all of the users from one specific project. And I believe this is supported by two-legged authentication, right, John? John, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, if you follow this same step with this account admin YAML file and use this logic to paginate instead of buckets, you paginate all the users from one project, then you can create a dashboard just like this to understand for each project the amount of users or for each user the amount of projects they are added. Got it? Of course, some things might change, like this evaluate logic here. You're not aggregating total size from buckets, but you might aggregate users from projects. There is a question from Moses. Can this apply to file size per ACC hub if you have three-legged token and URN? Great question. Yes, you can do the same. You just need to loop through the entire hub's folder structure. So you need to look through folder structure, or you can use the search endpoint. There is one endpoint here that you might use to do this trick. Data management. I believe it is this one. Folder search. This one. Yeah, let's say you want to understand all the file size for one ACC hub, filtering by the file, the specific extension of a file. So you can use this search endpoint, and it works with two-legged. And from there, you aggregate these responses to retrieve all of that information in the dashboard. I just don't know if this can address the paginate, the folder structure, if this can search across nested folders. Let me just check. Do you know, John or Adam?
Yes,
Can
Which
Dennis?
I'm pretty sure it
which
goes
part?
into nested folders. The search functionality.
The search should only support the three-legged token, right?
Oh no, it supports two-legged as
Oh
well.
yeah. The new investment.
But I'm trying to understand remember if it can search across nested folders, but I don't see it here.
I'm quite
Yeah.
sure it does.
Okay, so yeah, so with that, once this supports, then yeah, you don't need to traverse the entire structure. Is there a limit on size of bucket or hub? Yeah, I don't believe there is a limit for the storage, only when you are in the trial. But ACC has some limitations. Product and tool limitations. Yeah, there are some limitations in the naming standards, folders, maximum file size, maximum number of versions. I don't see maximum number of files in a folder. Yeah,
I think for Autodesk Docs account, there's like a limit, like 5 terabytes, something like that. Yeah, there it is.
but for
Mm.
one file, right? Not for all the files, right? Yeah. Yeah, so with 5 terabytes per file, should have good enough to, yeah, cover most of the scenarios. I have a
Yeah.
request. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, John. Sorry.
I just have yeah I there's one limitation about the folder, the files on the one folder. I think there might be a limitation for 500. This I got this information some years ago, but I'm not sure if this was improved or something.
Oh, 500 files per folder. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with that, we have a limit. Still a lot, but yeah. Thank you, John. So, Ernest Simmers, I have a request. I want to see more stuff done with the vote. My bosses have issued with version managed, so I need to expansion my votes. Manufacturing policy doing things. Oh, okay. So please share this in the feedback. I believe we have a feedback session, if not for today, for tomorrow, but I'll share that with the internal team as well. Thank you very much. And if you need further help, feel free to reach out to our team through the dedicated support channel. And yeah, if needed, we can build a sample or run in a call with you. Many options. Awesome. So with that, I see he also who can talk me about the GitHub. Oh, LLMS text. Yeah, LLMS text is available in there, and there is a channel, there is a dedicated email to that you can use to provide support. So if you go over blogs, this was blogged by Michael. And you can follow this to test on Cursor as an example. And if you have any feedback, you can just email this alias here, llmstext-feedback@autodesk.com. Okay. So ask over here, follow this, and I'll double check with Michael if we have any pending requests, and then we're going to reply to you. Sorry for that, man. I'm going to check this right after this event, early simmers. Okay, so thank you for staying up to this point. Thank you, my colleagues, Adam, Dennis, John, and see you tomorrow.